Welcome to Irish Illustrated Instant Analysis, brought to you by the RVMH Hall of Fame in Elkhart, Indiana. I am Tim O'Malley with Tim Prister of Irish Illustrated and John Brice of Football Scoop, and we are outside Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. Recent house of horrors, a bit for Notre Dame fans, but that doesn't matter as much today as the health of Jeremiah Love's knee, Abdul Carter's shoulder, and of course Notre Dame's ability to stop the run and run the football. It has been the key to success in this extensive run to the college football playoff semifinal.
Yeah, I think what I'm looking for first and foremost is, and Tim, you and I talked about this as we were waiting to come out here to Hard Rock Stadium, can Notre Dame hit its mark? You know, they've invested a lot. We've talked about the loss of personnel. Can they hit their mark tonight? Can they do it without Jeremiah Love? That's a good question to be answered here as well. I think they can. Keep in mind, and John, you pointed this out, Penn State's played an extra game. They played an extra game in the last month. So can Penn State hit their mark? But, you know, looking at it from Notre Dame's perspective, they need to play good football, protect the football, and put their best foot forward here against Penn State.
And in talking with staff this week down here in South Florida, I think a key element brought to my attention is not just can Notre Dame tackle the two-headed monster in Penn State's backfield, but can they meet them at the line and, quote, can we get some knockback tackles? That was the direct quote that was said to me. I thought that was very interesting. That lets you know this person emphasizing absolutely the best running back tandem that Notre Dame has faced all year. Notre Dame has risen to the challenge week after week, particularly its rush defense, but this is a challenge unlike any other. That also, I think, makes it all the more important to make Drew Aller uncomfortable as soon as possible, because if you can make him uncomfortable, that's just going to further help you mitigate that run game.
And make him uncomfortable, obviously, is putting him behind the chains, relying on a passing attack that is more tight end oriented than any in the country. That's because they have the best tight end of the country. But I do like Notre Dame's chances at corner matching up with Penn State's wide receivers. Tim Priester, though, is just as important for Riley Leonard to that Irish offense to stay ahead of the chains, because even without Abdul Carter, it could be tough on 3rd and 8 against Penn State, and that's no way to live. You saw it last week against Georgia. It's difficult to convert if you're not in some plus situations on 3rd down.
Yeah, well, I think Notre Dame's counting on their run game, which is their bread and butter, the backbone of the offense, being big time. I also think, and we've been talking about this with Riley Leonard, he had a season-high 14 carries last week. I wouldn't be surprised if it crept near 20 today, largely because of the situation with Jeremiah Love. But that interior defensive line of Penn State, I think when Notre Dame looks at this, they say the way that there are inroads against Penn State's defense is up the middle, and then you have to do some things with Riley Leonard when it's on the edge or up the middle with him as well. But there's no doubt that Notre Dame's ground game has to be better than it was last week. Although, are there inroads against this secondary of Penn State? I think they catch the ball better than the Georgia secondary, but I don't think that they're as adept at in man-to-man coverage.
Yeah, and I think along those lines, TP, it's about you're right. It's going to be a Leonard's legs games, especially if they can soften up that middle of the Penn State defense early. And if Abdul Carter is extremely limited or can't go the duration of the game, that makes Riley Leonard that much more dangerous. I think you're looking at a situation where Notre Dame will try to selectively take some shots in the first half, but if Notre Dame has a lead in the second half, I think we get a steady diet of Riley Leonard and some RPOs.
And some Jarian Price. We do have to mention Jarian Price's name because, look, I feel like Jeremiah Love was limited before he got hurt in that game last week, so I don't. If Love plays, I don't believe he can be at 100%.
Well, after the 98-yard run, he ended up getting banged up, against Indiana. So, yeah, he's been in total recovery mode. And I agree. I think there's no reason why Jarian Price can't have a big game, a good game with Aeneas Williams in support. Jarian Price has stepped in for Jeremiah Love before and played well. He's going to have another opportunity tonight.
Special teams has defined this team as well. Every week, basically, and since they went to Georgia Tech to play Atlanta, you know some more is coming. I cannot get over how aggressive they were against Georgia. I think you'll see a repeat of that, at least in terms of bluffing, trying to get Penn State off its mark there. Special teams, and of course, JB, we keep harping on it. Whoever's +1 in turnover, has an advantage tonight in what should be a rock fight.
Yeah, last week we felt they needed to be +2. They were. They won the game. Tonight, I firmly believe if Notre Dame is +1, Notre Dame absolutely will be in position to win this contest. Special teams, people on staff telling me this week that's very much a huge component, especially even just flipping the field, just pinning Penn State back. Again, if Notre Dame can win field position, all that's going to do is enhance Notre Dame's ability to make Drew Aller incredibly uncomfortable.
You know, Tim, in the Minnesota game, Penn State had a punt and a extra point blocked. Penn State has, we've said this during the week, Penn State has not blocked a kick. So, I mean, from that standpoint, based upon what has happened over the course of 15 games for Notre Dame, or 14 games for Notre Dame and 15 for Penn State, Notre Dame has an advantage there.
One or two more of these for the college football season, because we're in the semifinal now. I have said all week, Mitchell Evans is going to have a good day for the Irish passing game. Do you guys have one side of the football someone for Irish to look out for that's not named Jarian Price or Riley Leonard?
Yeah, I still think this is a great opportunity for a Leonard Moore interception today. X-Watts would be the easy pick, and you could pick him every week and quite literally be right more often than not. But I like Leonard Moore to be in position to make an interception today, a game-changing play.
I'm sorry, John. I picked 2 interceptions, so Leonard Moore and Xavier Watts look good to me. And you know, I think Jaden Ausberry becomes a very key man in the pass coverage against Tyler Warren.
We are brought to you by the RV Manufactured Housing Hall of Fame at Elkhart, Indiana. That's it for us pregame. We'll be back postgame with more instant analysis. Notre Dame, Penn State in the college football playoff semifinal.